So let's take a look at what the Android License Manager is. Well, in simple terms, it is basically just a copy protection system for Android applications. Now, there used to be another copy protection system that was just called copy protection. And the way that operated was that it required the user to install the app on the main device. They couldn't have it on an SD card. There was a lot of different restrictions on this. This Android License Manager is much better, but it is tied to the Android market, so it's only going to work for apps that you are distributing through the Android market. So that's something to note. For example, if you try to put your app somewhere else, you're going to have to disable this licensing code, but that's pretty easy to do. It's only for paid applications. You're not going to be able to use this for a free application. Not that you would really need to, but just to keep that in mind. So if you have a freeware application, then you won't even need to worry about this. And like I said before, it is a big improvement over the old system. It's a lot more complicated to implement, but I'll show you how to do that. But it really is a lot better than what they had before. And the only requirements that you have is that you either need to have a real device or you need to have your emulator running the API level 8 or plus for support of the Android License Manager. You can still test your app if you don't have an emulator running that high level API, but you're not going to be able to test the licensing functionality. You just have to disable it when you run your app. So let's take a look at the architecture of the Android License Manager so we understand exactly what we're trying to do when we're implementing licensing in our application. First thing to note is the Market License Server. That is the server that exists on Android, on Google Marketplace's platform. It's external to us, and the Market app is going to make calls out to that license server. Now, Android is using the Market app in this case because the Market app has a high level of security on your device, and Google is able to know that the Market app is an app that they put out, and so they're able to trust requests that come from that application. So in between that, in your app is the LVL, or License Verification Library. And this is a library that we're actually going to use in order to have our Android application communicate with the Market app and do the licensing. Basically, what you're going to do is you're going to have your application, and it is going to reference the License Verification Library. And then you're going to use some of the APIs that the LVL exposes and make some calls to ask for a license check that will cause the Market app to go ahead and go to the server, make your request, and then return the result. And then at some point, we're going to get a result back, and then we're going to respond to that result. And it seems a lot more complicated than it is. It's really just this simple, but it can be a little bit confusing. So I'm going to walk you through the steps. We're just going to get that license verification library first and get that set up with our app, and then I'll show you how to go through and make those API calls you need in order to check a license.